Hi everyone, welcome back to Corporate Dakota, the place where we pull back the curtain on corporate filings, maybe a little too much. Today we're dissecting a really interesting update from Curanex Pharmaceuticals Inc. They just had a significant event happen and it's all about their stock specifically, how many shares are out there and how much money they've raised. And let me tell you, for a smaller company, this is a big deal. So first off, who is Curanex Pharmaceuticals? They're a Nevada corporation and they're focused on pharmaceuticals, which means they're in the business of making medicines. They've got this stock ticker Curanex, and you can find it trading on the Nasdaq Capital Market. Now, what's the big news? Back in August, they had their initial public offering, or IPO. This is when a private company first sells its stock to the public. They sold 3,750,000 shares at $4 each share. That brought in a cool 15 millions. Think of it like this. The company basically sold pieces of itself to anyone who wanted to buy them for the first time. But here's where it gets even more interesting. They had this thing called an underwriting agreement. Basically, the people who helped them sell the stock, the underwriters, had an option. An option is like a right, but not an obligation. To buy more shares at that same IPO price, Curanex gave these underwriters the option to buy an additional 500 shares. And guess what? They totally took that option. On September 10th, the underwriters said, yes, we want those extra shares. This purchase, which is like a second round of selling shares to those same underwriters, officially closed on September 12th. This second sale brought in another $2,025 million for Curanex. So in total, from the initial sale and this over allotment option, they've raised quite a bit of money. It's a really positive sign that the underwriters were willing to buy more shares. It suggests they believed in the company and its stock offering. After all these transactions, Curanex now has 28,312,500 shares of its common stock floating around. This number is important because it tells us how much of the company is divided up among all its owners, including the public shareholders and the underwriters who just bought more. One of the things noted in the filing is that Curanex considers itself an emerging growth company. This is a special status given to companies that are still relatively new and growing. It allows them to follow slightly different rules when it comes to reporting certain financial information, which can sometimes make things a bit simpler for them as they're just getting started. They've indicated they are not opting for the extended transition period for new accounting standards, meaning they're choosing to adopt them right away. This shows a commitment to keeping up with financial reporting best practices even as a smaller company. They also mentioned they released a press release on September 12th, which is included as an exhibit. This is usually how companies announce these kinds of important events to the public. The report is signed by Jun Liu, the Chief Executive Officer, on September 12, 2025. This is standard procedure, showing that the company's leadership is aware of and responsible for the information being reported. Now, let's talk about what this all means. Curanex Pharmaceuticals just successfully completed its IPO and then very soon after managed to sell even more shares to its underwriters. This is a really strong indicator of confidence in the company. When underwriters buy more stock than initially planned, it suggests they see strong demand and believe the stock will perform well. They raised a total of over $17 million, which is significant for a pharmaceutical company looking to develop its products. This money can be used for research, clinical trials, and scaling up operations. However, it's important to remember that Curanex is an emerging growth company. This means they are likely still in the early stages of their business development. The pharmaceutical industry is also incredibly competitive and highly regulated. Risks include the possibility that their drug candidates might not prove effective in trials, or that regulatory approvals will be delayed or denied. Moreover, the stock price can be very volatile, especially shortly after an IPO, as the market tries to figure out the company's true value. Looking at the overall picture, Curanex seems to be taking all the right steps to secure funding and establish itself in the market. The successful over-allotment exercise is a particularly positive sign. The key for them now is to make good use of this capital to advance their drug development pipeline and achieve key milestones. Investors will be watching closely to see if they can translate this financial success into scientific and commercial progress. The direction is positive, but the path forward in pharmaceuticals is always challenging. Alright, that's our breakdown of Curanex Pharmaceuticals' latest filing. What's your take on these numbers and what they signal for the company's future? Drop your thoughts in the comments. If this analysis was valuable, hitting that like button really helps, and subscribe for more deep dives. Don't forget to check out our Discord in the description. Thanks for watching, see you next time.